Okay, as you can see, I have the Dynamat installed in the vehicle, and after did my final road test and around my subdivision, got all of the bits and pieces working, speedo, etc. Finalized all of the final wiring issues, etc. That problem I had with the fuel tank. It's better if you put fuel in than question the wiring. But all of those little issues that I had, I fixed them all, and then I've taken the seat out, taken the steering wheel off, and now I'm on with finalizing everything up until the installation of the interior. So this Dynamat stuff, I've used it quite a few times. I've used it on my TS6 and my previous E-Type, and I use it more for the heat rejection. So the center tunnel in particular can get quite hot with your leg against it, etc. So even though the car's got plenty of heat shields on it underneath, directly above the exhaust, the Dynamat does actually help in trying to minimize the heat transfer into the interior. I don't do it from a noise perspective. This is a convertible. I like the noise personally, so this is not an NVH refinement vehicle by any means. So I only put the Dynamat in the places where the heat is really intensive. So that I've seen a lot of different pictures where they cover everything, and I haven't done that. So this is just my personal preference. It's necessarily exactly what you should do. This is just the way I prefer to do it. A couple of things to point out. I put on the tunnel cover. It's a trial fitting at the moment. There's no sealant in there. I'm going to fit my center console and radio console before I finalize all that, just to trial fit that, make sure everything is working and will assemble. So I'm sure I'm going to have some challenges there. But this is insulated on the inside, not on the outside. I have Dynamat on the inside surfaces, not on the outside. The challenges with fitting the center console and radio are already tough enough. So, and you do need to, I believe that you do need to cover that. Okay, this Dynamat goes all the way inside. My ribs are still very, very, very sore. You end up leaning on the sill, on this sill here, to reach in to mark everything out, cut it, position it, cut the Dynamat, then put the Dynamat in. It is incredibly sticky stuff. So I tend to go for smaller panels rather than one big panel over a large area. You end up fighting the material. So it's all the way into the footwell. Obviously the bottom of the seat, and then I actually have this waterfall area, as I call it, done as well. I think I'm going to tape these edges because the vinyl that goes over there is going to show the joints between each of the Dynamat panels, so I'll try and smooth that out. I read that in some notes from somebody else that has documented it quite well. The other thing that before I did all of that was to, I'm not quite sure whether you're going to see them, but I've done these mill boards. It's basically, well, they call it a mill board, right? So it's a pliable board. It's relatively thin. It's maybe just over an eighth of an inch thick, and it's just covering the wiring. So I spent quite a bit of time tidying up the wiring and then still checking that everything was working, and that seems to have worked out quite nicely. And there are two pieces on the driver's side, one piece on the passenger side. To give you an idea how long it took me to finish up the wiring, fit the mill boards, and do all of the Dynamat. That was literally a week of maybe 6 hours a day. Maybe I'm not that quick, I don't know. But there's a lot of patience required to get it to be installed. I'm glad this job is done as well, but we're one step closer to interior work.